Hello, my name is Jeff, and this is a tutorial on switching between forms in a single application and remaining with the original parent form in the instance that it was left in when you went to the second form and you come back to it, so that you're not creating a new instance of the original parent form. So let's open up a project. It's going to be a new project. We're going to do a Windows form application. We're going to call it just, I don't know, how about forms control? Sounds good enough. And we're going to go in here and we start our new project. With our new project, we're going to go over to the Solution Explorer and we're going to right click on Add New Item. And when we add a new item, we're going to do a Windows form and we're going to call it, and just for something to call it, we'll call it graphs. And we'll say add. So now what we have is we have our original parent form and we have our secondary form, and they're both being shown here in the Solution Explorer. On our primary form, we're going to do a couple things just so that you can see what's going on. We're going to bring a button in, and we're going to bring in a, let's bring in a checkbox. And the reason we'll bring in the checkbox is so that you can see that it holds its state when it comes back to it, and that it is the same instance that was running before you went to the second form. So let's double click on our button. We create our event of a button click. And with that, we're going to start writing some code. So the first thing we want to do is when we click on our button, we want the original parent form to hide. So we're going to say this about this dot hide. This dot hide, and close out that statement. Then we're going to designate our change in forms, which is going to be the graphs. Graphs. Then we're going to say a variable of form 2 equals a new graphs. And we'll just go down here. A new graphs, and then we will put in this little bugger right here, which is this, and close it out. This that is in here, because remember, this parent form, we're only going to hide it, which means it's still running. It knows that the change, this needs to be equal. So it knows that when it's changing, it's okay. Now it connects it to this new form that we're creating, because it's this form. And after we do that, what is the new form that we want? Well, we want to have form 2, which is the new one, our variable, to show. And then, of course, we do our typical close it out. That is really all you have to do in the first form. That creates the ability to hide your form and get to form 2, and it provides a connection between the two forms. Now when you go to your second form, we will just view code so that we can see what's going on here. And in the beginning of this, what we want to do is we want to close out that connection between the two forms. So we're going to say form, and then the variable of form parent, and we're going to make that equal to null, because that is what it is. It's null. It's hide. It's gone. It's not around, and we need to be able to designate that as being so. Then we're going to say that in this initialization process, there's also going to be a form designator, and we're going to give that, just for parent, we'll call it PAR. Then down inside there, what are we going to do? We're going to do the form parent equals the par. And we'll close that out also, like so. So there's your connection that puts it all. So when the second form comes up, it immediately initializes all this and makes its connection between the other form. Now we're going to go to our graphics here. Our form, we'll go over to properties, and we're going to select our events and go to form close, because what we want to do is we want to go back to our parent when we have a situation that the second form is closing. So we will double click in here, and it generates this form close event. And what do we want to do when the form is closing? We simply want to see the form parent, and we want to dot show. And show and there you go. Now with that said, we got all the tying factors, and then we were going back here. So if we run this at this point, we have a mistake. And what is that mistake? From doesn't work. It should be form. And this should be form. I guess I'm doing a little dyslexia today. Now if we run everything, now everything will come up. Always the typo. So in this particular case, so that you can see that we're going to come back to it, we're going to checkbox this. So you can see that there has been something that we have done to this form, and now we're getting ready to go to our second form. And when we come back, we should see this same form in the same state that it was at when we left. So we go over here. As you can see, the first form disappears because that's what we told it to hide and bring up the second form. We have our graphs, which is all fine. Now when we close, we come back, and as you can see, it is the same instance of the form. All we did was hide it, and we brought it back, and now we can go between the forms all we want, or you can have multiple forms, and you can have multiple buttons, or you can put a bunch of check boxes, and then you can put an if-else statement underneath the button. If this one's checked, go to this form. If that one's checked, go to this form. However you want. But the basics of it is right there, and that's how you swap between forms and always come back to the same instance of the form that you had originally. And I hope this helps you out, because I know it was a little bit tricky for me to figure out. And when you close it, everything comes out, debugging goes off, and the program is closed. Have a nice day. I hope this tutorial helps you with switching between forms.